Girls of Reddit, did you ever have a guy that you wished you said yes to when he asked you out? What is the story? My grandma just told me this story. In high school, she met this guy. He was very intelligent, fairly good looking and greatly humorous. She really liked him, and she was very aware that he likes her as well. So one day, he finally asks her out, and she rejects him. My grandma continues to say about how he turned out so well with money and a really nice life. So I asked her, well, why did you reject him? And her exact words were, he couldn't date a ginger. Ah. Old people. Edit. Best part is she ended up having a red-headed son. One time I said no because I was too busy with my exams. I had my head buried in my books when he asked me. The timing was all wrong. I regret saying no. Dude, balls in your court at that point. What's wrong with asking him out once you're not in finals anymore? If a girl tells me she's busy, but maybe sometime in the future, while giving no specific timeline, I assume that's code for I'm not interested. If it's not code, you have to be the one to broach the subject again. I'm not going to keep pestering you. I've learned my lesson. I've always interpreted it as such. I set up a date with one girl recently. I was gonna pick her up. She gave me her address, etc. Then the day before, she cancelled on me saying she was too busy. I asked to reschedule, and she told me she wouldn't be free for at least 2 more weeks. First off, nobody's too busy to put an hour aside to grab a drink in a 2-week window. Saying no to me won't hurt my feelings. I'm great, so you're the one who's making a mistake. It's the lying that hurts. But more importantly, you gave a total stranger your phone number and address with the intention of blowing him off. What if I'm a stalker? Or a murderer? Or a murder stalker? You don't know me. That's just bad decision making. Had a guy ask me out in high school. Really fun guy. Very nice. Funny. Athletic. Smart. And good looking. I turned him down because I knew he had already had sex. And I wasn't ready to have sex at that time. It wasn't about his morals. I did desperately want to date him, but I just felt like I would never be able to make him happy, and I was embarrassed that I hadn't had sex. A few years later in college I ran into him when I was home on break. He's still the perfect guy. Hasn't changed a bit. I screwed the pooch on that one. Had a very close friend in high school who really liked me for years. I was his prom date and all. But when he started to want to be more than friends, I was really hesitant, so I said no and distanced myself. Even though I knew I should have said yes. Long story short, I'm Sikh and was rebelling against my parents' wishes to be with a practicing Sikh. Such a stupid reason. We stayed friends though. In college, I started to like him even more, but we both had so's. I kept thinking of telling him how I felt. But I kept these feelings in my head all throughout college without saying anything, and instead stayed with my Dutch bag of a so. And then when I was getting close to admitting everything to him, he passed away while on vacation with his family. Well, that turned dark fast. 2 guys come to mind. Guy 1 was so sweet, and I did like him, but he was going too fast for my liking, saying I love you too soon, etc. He somehow lost heart in pursuing a relationship with me when I told him to slow down as it was making me uncomfortable. We rekindled our thing a few years later, but it wasn't quite the same, and it didn't amount to anything serious. He's now in a long distance relationship with a beautiful girl. From what I can see from the outside of their relationship, he's a very sweet and devoted boyfriend. I sometimes think I missed out. Guy 2 was someone I really liked. But he was always talking to Slash about other girls, so I didn't think he liked me that much. One day, he asked if I'll go out with him, but it was set up to seem like a joke, so I said no. That's ridiculous, because I didn't want to appear too eager and vulnerable. I found out later that he was serious, but he wanted to seem casual. This happened in high school, hence all these stupid games. He had moved on to other girls by the time I found out, and went into a relationship with this girl. She was his first girlfriend. When they broke up, it devastated him. Then sometime after, we got together. I was his rebound. So it was doomed from the start as he wasn't over her. I thought that if I had said yes to him when he asked me the first time, I would have been his first and he would have loved me that much. Question mark? I did this event at the Queen Mary and could not stop staring at this guy. I just thought he was the most gorgeous thing on the planet. My event coordinator noticed and ended up bringing him over the last night when they had a ball. We walked around the deck, and when I told him how I had slipped and almost fell, he's like swooped me into a dip and said like this. He tried to teach me how to dance, which he was great at. Told me about how he traveled and loved school and all the same things as me. It was the best / most romantic night of my life. I had to go back to my group and he stopped me on the stairs to kiss me and said, this is the last chance I'm going to have to do this. What do you want me to do? I told him I needed him to keep walking because at the time I was in an on again off again relationship with a total scumbag. I think about him all the time and beat myself up a lot for passing on someone so great for someone who didn't care about me. If I could redo one thing in my life, it'd be that night. Damn it. Edit. I know I'm a complete dumbass. He was unreal in how wonderful he was. Yes, I fully admit to being that girl who picked the douche, but it was my first relationship and lesson was definitely learned. After stewing on this and beating myself up, I think I'm going to try to find him. He has a pretty uncommon name luckily. Last I heard he had a girlfriend, but we'll see. Edit 2. Contact has been made. I don't know what to do with myself now, haha. I think I watched this with my mom on Lifetime or Hallmark. Shitty mental health. Don't feel like I could have a healthy relationship because of it. Back in my teens, my self-esteem was so low it was easier to believe otherwise really nice guys were trying to make fun of me rather than that they were actually interested. Some of them were guys I had crushes on for years. Yay. Relevant first kiss story. Really attractive and popular girl flirted with me in high school, and I always played it cool because I thought she was making fun of me. I didn't want to be a big baby and make a big deal, so I just went with it and tried to be uninterested or witty. We hang out and she kisses me. It was my first kiss and I was super nervous anyway and was still paranoid she was making fun of me and trying to make me uncomfortable and nervous so she could tell her friends lol he is so noob with chicks. So she gently pulls away after a minute and I laugh. I thought I would beat her to the punch, but instead she cried and I felt really bad and had to try to convince I liked her and was glad she kissed me. Edit. Sorry everyone. I didn't mean to be the op that never delivered. No, so it was a cold winter night and we parked in some empty parking lot and the windows are all fogged up. We are 16, 4 years ago. It's late, don't know where else to go, but want to be together. So, she cried for a minute and thought I was laughing at her. So I tell her that I wasn't laughing at her. I was nervous B/C first kiss. She doesn't believe me. So I lean over and hold her cheek and kiss her several more times and tell her it's okay. She comes around and we make out in wonderful teenage awkwardness. Then she drives me home. We hung out after that day and had fun times. Looking back, it was a 500 days of summer situation of sorts. She had a relationship, but liked me and wanted to have fun with me. I wanted anybody that wanted me, but especially her. So she wants a fun carefree time and I wanted a lot more. We split ways when she went to college, but it was friendly, I guess. Now I've gotten more attractive, woota/fitness, and a little more confident, but I've never really dated anyone since then. I can rest now, knowing I've delivered. Growing up is hard. Not really regretting, but I wish I had been someone else that could have given him a chance. He was all shy and cute and seemed like a genuinely good person. It was in the train, but I was/am in love with somebody else. Fuck this gay earth. Well, there was this one guy who I served at the register I was working at who seemed nice and normal. He came back later and handed me his number, and I sort of wonder what would have happened if I called it. I lost the number, but I remember his name and know he probably lives in the area. In 4th grade, a boy passed me a note asking me whether I'd be his girlfriend. Circle yes or no. I was caught off guard, but my friend sitting next to me wasn't. I believe she said ooh, rip it up, and I did. He was a nice kid. I should have circled yes. And I really shouldn't have ripped it up. That was very rude of me. Sorry, Jeremy. That would tear any person's heart apart. I hope Jeremy stayed strong. Sort of. Because he never asked directly. Like, he hinted at it enough that I really should have gotten the picture. But I wasn't thinking about starting anything because I was moving 4 states away in less than a week. It's 3 months later and I still think about what could have been sometimes. I had the same mindset. I'm leaving in 2 months. Why should we even start something? We are 6 months together. It's her fault. D. My main motivation for acquiring fame and wealth and muscles is to put a lot of girls into the situation you describe. That's healthy, right? You do what you gotta do to get the gains. And find your swallow maiden. My mom was waiting for this guy to get off stage so she could interview him for Buddy magazine. When this little weird guy comes over and asks her out, her actual words were he was way too ugly. I was just too good for him. After I asked her why she shut him down, the guy turned out to be Stevie Ray Vaughan. She said that when the guy she was waiting for finally got off stage, the little guy got up and did a couple of songs. She instantly regretted treating him like that and tried to talk to him afterward. He told her I wasn't good enough for you before I played and nothing's changed. Glad he had some self-respect. Till that, girls will still say no to being asked out, even if they like you and are available. So remember, no matter how much you think she likes you, asking her out is still just like starting a hardest difficulty game of Minesweeper on the smallest map. It really does boggle the mind. I worked for several years with Harry. We had a lot of fun at work and also went out surfing, beach days, mutual friend stuff together too. Only gradually did I realize I was developing genuine feelings for him. I kept all this to myself. Of course, he seemed way out of my league and I didn't want to make our work relationship awkward. Once he asked me if I'd go shopping with him to find some shoes. We went to the mall, found some kicks, and then he asked me if I wanted lunch. I said nah. I wanted to work out before work, so see ya later. Didn't understand he was maybe asking me to lunch as a date until much later. Idiot. We continued to work together and hang as friends though, and we both dated other people. Eventually he left the job to travel and finish school, but still came by to hang out. One night we were all drinking and we went out back to share a smoke. We were pretty drunk and I was sitting on this raised box thing and he stood in front of me and placed his hands on my knees, looked into my eyes and said tinfoil heart apart, I love you. I've never been able to say this before. I love you. I've loved you a long time. And I said, okay, handed him the smoke and went back inside. I didn't know how to reply. I had inklings that he had feelings for me, but we never came out and said it. I had a boyfriend at the time and wouldn't cheat. So, here I am. Harry, if you read this, I love you too. TL, drive. Worked 4 years with my possible soulmate. He confessed his love and I choked like a fool. Even I got hurt just by reading this. Poor guy. Why do I get the feeling that Op has a specific girl in mind as he's asking this question? People don't usually get up in the morning and wonder this stuff without any background info. I wonder what's under that rock in Pluto's pole. Obviously Pluto's under the rock. Are you a fucking scientist or something? You're smart as fuck. He's a plutocrat. Is anyone else reading all these posts hoping to find one about yourself? Every single person in this thread. Yes. At an end of summer party this nice guy gave me his number. I was very shy and kept putting off calling him because I was nervous. Then I got caught up in the excitement of starting my first year at university and I honestly just forgot about it. Passed him months later in the hallway at university and he gave me this incredibly wounded puppy dog look and kept walking. I felt terrible. I hadn't thought it was a big deal for him. I know now it's pretty much always a big deal for a guy to work up that courage. In high school I had a huge crush on this guy, but he was one of the popular guys and I wasn't. But as luck would have it, we sat beside each other in Soph English and he must have thought I was pretty funny because he was laughing at my jokes. Fast forward to the end of the year. He and his GF broke up and after class we held hands all the way to the bus stop. I was so friggin' shy that I bolted when he tried to kiss me. We didn't talk much afterwards. I regret being shy. Nobody is ever happy about how shy they once were. The struggle continues. No. Can't say I said no to anyone who asked. Did I wish I had just grabbed that brown-eyed idiot who was in all my classes and told them how I felt? Yes. With my whole being. Grabbing people by the eyeballs is generally seen as a bad move. Well, it looks like I need to cancel my plans and desperately search this thread for women who I perceive to have wronged me. Thanks Reddit. So I'm actually the guy in this story. But once I asked a girl in a chemical lab at college out. Turned out she had a boyfriend. But her smile when I asked her was bigger than I've seen from girls who said yes. Wow, I can't believe how relevant this is to my situation. Throwaway just in case he or a friend recognizes this post. Don't want the surprise to be ruined. I had a really good friend in high school who, to put it lightly, was a man whore. We were really close. He would tell me everything about his sexual escapades with a variety of girls. Some I knew, and some who were much older. Despite all these conversations, I started to fall for him. Underneath his reputation was someone kind and loving to all his friends. He was the type who would do anything for anyone. He was a great father figure to his younger siblings and was essentially the man of the house. Junior year, he revealed that he was starting to like me. He asked if I would be his date to our friend's annual New Year's party. But I was an assuming, ignorant bitch, and I brushed it off. I was hurt that he would try to get in my pants. I thought I meant more to him than just another girl to mess around with. I never told him how I felt about him. Instead, I cut off ties with him. I started to distance myself from him little by little with no explanation. He would try to talk to me, but I would try my hardest to avoid him altogether. I went away to college and he stayed in our hometown. After too much time thinking, I realized what I did was immature. Recently, we had started talking again, and I apologized for being a huge bitch. He told me he knew I'd come around again. But I'm happy to know he really does care for me still. He doesn't know it, but I'm going back home tonight for Christmas. I plan on surprising him. I'm going to ask him to be my date to the New Year's party our friend has every year. Edit. I took some of your advice and asked him earlier tonight if he had plans for New Year's. He already knew where the conversation was heading, cocky bastard, and said yes. I'm so lucky things have fallen into place. Can't wait to see where things take us, and thanks everyone for your support. F yes. This is shit guys dream about. Hey, this girl just called me and asked if I wanted to go to the New Year's Eve party. Should I respond with a dick pic? Time sensitive. A guy asked out a girl I work with a while back. She said no. Very rudely. She's very materialistic. Certainly a gold digger. That guy ended up being Luke Wilson, tight end for the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. She is very regretful. Good. She deserves to be, if she's a gold digger. I have never said no to a guy that asked me out in a polite and respectful way. Guy, want to go out? Tool 08 fuck off you annoying little shit. I hope your mother dies. Married in 2015. In high school I was asked to go to homecoming by this great guy. I said no because I couldn't afford a dress. I was too embarrassed to tell him or anyone else about it. He ended up going with someone else, and I always regretted not being able to go. I wish I could have said yes. He was a rescator boy. I said see you later boy. The Great Gatsby in song. He didn't ask me out, but we were super close. It was obvious that we both liked each other until my friends and I were playing a game where you would have to say who you preferred to date more in the group of friends. It was my turn, and I jokingly said another guy. Of course he was so shocked, and it was only a few days later that I realized my dumb mistake. I was so frustrated at myself that I didn't talk to him for a long time. We talk a bit now, but he has a girlfriend. So much regret. TL. Doctor, don't be afraid to tell the truth. I was so frustrated at myself that I didn't talk to him for a long time. Girl logic. No. Idiot logic. I'm a girl and would never dream of ignoring him after that. I'd probably do the opposite, anything to undo what had been done and get him to forget about it. Even if it means I have to stand on my head. Tell him I'm dumb and I'm sorry, and then stand back up, walk over, and hug/kiss him to prove it. Not all girls are alike. Are all men the same? I worked in a library for a while, where you were required to wear name tags that somehow represented your real name. I didn't feel comfortable with my first name, so I put my middle name on it. I talked to a really nice guy for about an hour, and recommended a bunch of books to him. He came in a week later to ask if middle name was working. The lady at the circulation desk told him that no one by that name worked there. I never saw him again. He seemed like a really great guy. He never asked my name and I never asked him that first day. He probably thought I had lied to him.